Hey, let's talk a little bit about chords and scales. And one way to think about applying scales to chords is that you don't always have to come up with a name for a scale or think of a certain big scale that fits a chord. Sometimes the chord itself gives you all the notes you really need to worry about. And for example, let's look at a few of the chords that you'll find a lot in a lot of tunes. So let's say we're going to look at a D6-9 chord. Here's one voicing of the chord on guitar. Root third, 6, 9, 5th. Well, I'm going to take the notes and cram them all into one octave. So I'm going to take that 9, and instead of having it way up here, I'm going to put it right above the lowest root. So root 9 or 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a pentatonic scale, a D major pentatonic scale. So if I know I have those notes in the chord, I don't need to worry about applying some other chord name to it because it's built into the chord itself. How about a minor 7 chord? So let's say D minor 7. So D minor 7, just like any minor 7 or major 7 or 7, has 4 notes that are built in. Well, if I add one more note to this, if I add the perfect fourth or the 11, I'll have this. Root third, 5, 7, 11. If I voice it like that, I've got something that sounds like a nice open chord. But if I take the 11 and I put it down in the middle, 1, minor third, 11 or 4, 5, and 7. That's a minor pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's look at another chord. How about a D9 chord? Well, a D9 chord, here's a nice voicing that's a great one to learn first if you don't know any 9 chord voicings. On guitar, it's great fingering, root, 3rd, 7th, 9th, and then the 5th up here. You also have a 5th down there. But here we go. Well, now I'm going to take the same principle. I'm going to take this 9, put it in the middle of the chord, right above the root, 1, 9 or 2, 3, 5, 7. And that's my nice scale. It's a cool scale. It's also a pentatonic scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. But it's different from the other pentatonic scale, like a plain old major or minor pentatonic scale, because it's got a tritone in it, which makes it sound, a little spicier. So how about if I take the 9 that I had in that one and I go down a half step? So I'm going to play D7 flat 9. Okay, well, I got flat 9, I got major 3rd, perfect 5th, and 7th. Well, there are a lot of bigger scales that can fit that chord, but those are the basic notes. So there are lots of scales that will have a flat 9 in it, a major 3rd, perfect 5th, and a 7, like a half whole diminished scale. Or a Mixolydian flat 2 scale, or Mixolydian flat 2 flat 6 scale, which is the 5th mode of harmonic minor. But if I'm just aware of the notes in that chord, and then I can look for nice notes that decorate or ornament or enclose the notes in the chord, I'm going to find that I'll probably be playing something like any of those other scales anyway, but I don't have to really worry about what they are. I'm just saying, well, here's the root, here's the 9, here's the 3rd. Well, what if I want to slide into the 3rd? I don't have to think, well, that's the beginning of a diminished scale. I'm just like, sort of bluesy sounding. If I want to go up to the 5th, same thing. Or if I want to go a half step above the 3rd. So basically, I'm not worried about the names of particular larger scale that I'm applying to that chord, but I'm finding some really nice colors around the chord tones anyway. Now, that's not to say that scales are bad. I'm not saying that at all. I spend a whole lot of time learning scales, and it's a lot of fun. But this is something that we're thinking about for kind of how to get right into the chord without over worrying about chord scales. All right, going back to the 9. What if we have a 7 sharp 9? Okay, so I'm gonna first of all just think the notes in the chord. So root, third, 5, 7, then the sharp 9 up there. Let's put it in the octave. Sharp 9, third, 5, 7. That's a nice little scale itself, but it's kind of hard to hear this note as a separate, significant note other than it being a just an approach to the third, kind of a bluesy. Okay, now let's do another one, another chord that gives you a 5-note scale. That it consists of a 5-note scale if you think of it, taking the notes apart. Then that is a D7 sus4 chord. So, and I'm adding the 9 to it, so it's really a D9 sus4. Root, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9. Now the cool thing about this is this also a plain old minor pentatonic scale, but instead of starting on the root of the chord, instead of starting on the D, it starts on the 5th. That's an A minor pentatonic, and you can decorate that pentatonic all kinds of ways. You can turn it into what people often call a minor blues scale. All kinds of cool stuff you can do. All right, so let's think of another chord that maybe is a slightly bigger scale. We're not talking about 7-note scales yet, or maybe we won't at all right now, but let's think about a 6-note scale. Okay, so a major 13 chord is, say, D major 13. The notes that you're really asked to play when you are looking at that chord symbol are root, 3rd, 5th, 6 or 13, and 7. And then we can also play the 9. So sometimes whoever's writing the chart wants to hear the 9, sometimes they don't. Let's right now think about it as if we do have the 9. So root, 9, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a cool sounding scale. It's a really nice scale, colorful, and it doesn't have a lot of tension in it. There's no tritone in that scale. If we do add a note that's slightly more dissonant, perhaps you might think of it that way, but it's very bright, the sharp 11 would be a common one, and that's the note that turns that 6-note scale into a Lydian mode, and it's this. Root, 9, 3rd, there's a sharp 11. That sharp 11 is a tritone away from the root. It's got that little bit of dissonance that you might resolve up to the 5th, or you might really like it and not resolve it at all. So that's just a little side note on how you can reduce what you got to worry about when you're thinking about what to apply against a certain chord. Sometimes just finding those chord tones and then surrounding them with other ornaments, enclosures, decorations give you all that you need to think about, and let the rest flow with your creativity.